We were in the second grade together at Lakewood Elementary School, and a lot of times on my way to school, I'd walk by Kim's house. I remember one time his dad had a load of topsoil in the front yard, and we were messing around with that dirt pile either before or after school.
Let me tell you, the very first time that I saw Kim, I was taking my sister Debbie to school, and she's telling me about Kim, and then she goes, "Oh my gosh, there he is in the car in front of us." And he makes eye contact with us, and then he begins driving, kind of like a teenager would. And I guess I'll just never forget it, because I was going, "Now, Debbie, I'm not so sure about this. He's driving kind of crazy." I'll just never forget seeing that car zip around, and I thought, yeah, he's trying to impress her. I know all too well.
I'm telling you, he kept our house standing. Well, when all of us were living on 19 Pine Tree Loop growing up, Tim was always over there fixing the doors, fixing the dishwasher, fixing this and fixing that. And he was just in high school.
One of my first memories, Kim's been a teacher for years, and he taught me how to drive. He taught me how to water ski, and just a number of things.
So I met Kim in 2002, before I met Eric, actually. I was working at a library, and there was some obscure photo hanging on the wall, and no one had ever asked about it. No one had ever really even looked at it. And he came up to me and said, "Tell me the story about this photo." And I kind of froze and just stared at him. And I said, "Let me go get my boss and he'll help you." And then a couple weeks later, I met Eric and realized that that was his son. That was my first time meeting Kim.
Probably the second meeting we had, we went up to Ohio, and they took us kayaking on the Little Miami River. Well, obviously, I'm not an outdoorsman, never have been, so we were going down Little Miami River, and the next thing I know, I get a thump from the back of the canoe or the kayak, and he sends us into a little spin, and he's laughing as he's going by us.
He used to trek up the mountain every year to light this flaming arrow to send down to ignite the bonfire for all of us little girls. And he'd always come back with poison ivy or something that happened on the way up the mountain. And finally, I got to the point where we were able to do it together. And so we went up the mountain together, and we lit the flaming arrow, and you send it down the cable to ignite the bonfire for all the little ones.
What was his Y Indian guide's name? Eric was Little Tree. I think I was something Mountain. And then Dad was Big Mountain? I can't remember.
I want to say that I was in the first grade, and I get called out of class, first grade. My dad's here to pick me up. I'm thinking, do I have a doctor's appointment? He picks me up, takes me to a nice restaurant in town, and just has lunch. And we eat our meal, and there's a dessert cart. It's kind of a fancy restaurant. This is one of these things that first graders usually don't go to. It's just a father-son thing. And dessert cart comes around. He goes, "Pick whatever you want on the dessert cart." I'm thinking, holy, what is going on? Yeah, I can remember exactly what I ate that day. It's the first time I had flan. So every time I eat flan, I think about that secretly.
I think of Kimisms. I don't really think of... Well, I think of the names. He has, little nicknames
Names
for people,
everybody,
right?
yeah. Dana Lucius.
But I also think of, I don't hear him when I think of Kimisms. I see him.
Yeah.
And I see his actions and his movements.
Yes.
And the way he walks into a room or he freezes. Hey! Yeah, and, his facial expression. So for me, Kimisms aren't about the words. It's about his actions.
I keep getting reminded of my dad saying, "Ain't gonna hurt that dog." In regards to us as well. It's not gonna hurt him. It's not gonna hurt that dog. And usually it was being said to my mom when she was worrying, maybe. Of myself here, whenever somebody's like, "Oh, can your dog eat that? Is it okay?" I was like, "Ain't gonna hurt that dog."
For me, usually it was "Get over it." It's done, April. Get over it. The other one probably was, "It's only money. It'll grow on a tree."
Well, Kim calls people in the old Southern charming way. He will call people like Miss Carolyn. If you go out to a restaurant or someplace, he always asks the name of the server or the person offering the service, and he remembers that person's name.
Those random nicknames, they come from other places. Those endearing nicknames, sometimes endearing.
He called me Barbaruski.
He's a fun guy. He's very knowledgeable. He's creative. He brings energy into the room everywhere he goes.
I called him like the resident wanderer because he was never in his office. He was always down socializing. It was through him socializing with everybody that he would always just come down to my office, and we would sit down and just have conversations.
Well, I knew we were hiring a great resource, somebody that would really take our leadership development to a whole new level. What I didn't realize is we were also hiring an interior decorator and a master chef. Suddenly, we'd find that chairs were no longer where they used to be. I mean, you'd almost fall on the floor because you were ready to sit in the chair where it had been for 5 years, and now he'd rearranged the whole lobby.
Something that he says frequently, if you ask him a question he can't remember the answer, he'll say, "I've slept since then."
He has absolutely amazed everybody with his lousy record keeping. He is the worst paperwork guy I've ever known.
Here's a guy that, powerfully built, star high school football player, Y staff person for 35 years, and he is the worst example of somebody who does not exercise. And we're on him all the time. His claim is that he and Deborah walk the dog a lot. So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm really willing to count that.
We had trouble getting photos because he's always taking them. He's hardly ever in pictures himself.
He was this ultimate gentleman, back to the original word of being a gentle man.
It was just I think a respectful thing he learned from his dad, and I know he passed on. I see it in his sons.
He is probably the most polite person I've ever met. He is a perfect Southern gentleman. As a matter of fact, we always tease him about being a Southern gentleman.
So it was a fun game for me to stand up a lot in staff meetings to see how much I could make him get up and down a lot.
He's just super. He walks the walk all the time. And he is a true gentleman. Honestly, I've never seen anybody like him.
Eureka. He just always taught us to be willing to discover things about ourselves and everywhere else and never be afraid to take that step. You can't say Eureka if you don't take the step.
Spontaneous. I think that's quintessential to my dad.
Spontaneous.
It's very energized. It's just like the Energizer Bunny. It's always going.
Yeah, the first word that came to my mind was open-hearted. I guess I feel like he's the type of person that opens his heart, his life, his house to everyone he comes across. So whether it's family or friends or a friend of a friend, he's just the first person to step in and say, how can I help you? What can I do to make your day better?
He's always been there. No matter what, if I ever had any kind of emergency or anything, I could just totally count on him. A lot of people, you might say, they get wiser, but Dad's always been so wise.
He's so loving. He's so generous. He's just so totally giving.
I would have to say, I have to use two, caring and giving.
The word that comes to mind would be sincere.
Genuine.
I think he's inspirational.
He's very unique. God only made one KP.
Yeah, we're really, really, we're the lucky ones to have him in our family.
He connects with people probably all over the world. There's probably nowhere that he can go that he doesn't know someone. And it's like cross-generations. And that is very rare.
He's been a mentor to a lot of young YMCA staff who have him to thank for their success.
He really is an inspiring person who leads by example. He's the kind of person that you notice and you emulate him.
I think his vocation in life is to help others find their passion in life. And he's constantly developing others and constantly empowering and inspiring others.
You know, I've met people here in Korea randomly that know my dad. With all the trainings and conferences, and I've been at a bar in Korea and talking to somebody, and they're like, wait a second, is your dad Kim?
The fact that he got Deborah Phillips to marry him.
I think his family, him and Debbie's marriage, their family.
I think it's his kids.
Well, his family, of course, his kids.
He can be proud of his kids and his wife for what they do.
He's a good man. He's a tremendous father, a tremendous husband. He's just a good guy.
I think he should be most proud of his kids. I think he's raised amazing kids that have great values and morals.
I think of his children. They've all been able to think for themselves, be able to do their own thing, and, really expand their horizons.
Just always being there for Mom. That's right up there.
His relationship with my mother, his relationship with his wife, they've been high school sweethearts. They've been together since the 9th grade. And I think that is extremely unique. And I would be proud. I am proud of my relationship with my wife, but I think that's because he's modeled that.
Not a whole lot. He's been constant. He's a whole lot older now.
He always has a joke. He's always very witty. So I think in that way, he hasn't changed, and thank God for it.
He has always been the same as long as I've known him now. Anytime we've reconnected, it's always him wanting to know what's been going on in our lives, and then talking about his family, which is what I see as the most important thing in his life always.
Honestly, he's just more endearing.
He's grown tremendously in his character and his spirit and soul, and being a father and a mentor and a brother-in-law. His main spirit, I guess, has always been the same. He's always been a very kind and loving and generous and helpful person from the day that I met him.
Kim, I think of you as kind, patient, understanding, and these are only three of the great qualities. Congratulations. Happy birthday. You've reached the age of 60. That is now the new 40. So just think, you're ahead of the journey of life. You've shown us what a person can do with energy and determination and the love of God. You are a great brother-in-law, a darn good chef, and thanks for keeping our house standing at 19 Pine Tree Loop. We love you, and happy birthday. May the years always be gentle and kind to you.
Happy birthday, Dad. I can't believe we survived to the big 6-0. I know I'm guilty of putting a few of those gray hairs on your head. I can't wait to see you. Lots of love.
Hi, Kim. It's Mom. Want to wish you a very happy birthday and tell you how proud we are to have you in our family. You're a wonderful husband and father. Lovely wife Deborah and children April, Ryan, and Eric are very proud and love you very much. You've had many successful and rewarding years working with the YMCA. Also, you are the best of chefs. You're always thinking of others and helping them. You're an inspiration to us all, and we love you very much. Happy birthday. Love, Mom.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, you taught me how to sing like no one's listening, dance like no one is watching, and, of course, live like it's heaven on earth, and we have done that. thank you, hun, for having a birthday so that we could all tell you what a great guy you are and how much you've meant to us in our lives, and to celebrate you turning 60. And at any rate, keep on dancing with me. Love ya.